So we're back. Um, we're now going to have our presentation for the Longitudinal Employer and Household Dynamics programs with Ms. Earlene Dowell. She's a program analyst with the U.S. Census Bureau. Earlene, floor is yours.
Thank you, Alan. Good morning, everyone. As Alan said, my name is Earlene, and thank you so much for inviting me back to present and share the Longitudinal Employer-Household Dynamics, or LEHD, data products with you. Today, we will take a broad look at all of the LEHD data products and how you can explore workforce trends. Sorry about that date. Let's talk about the LEHD program and where the data comes from. LEHD products are different from other census data in the fact that our data comes from our Local Employment Dynamics, or LED partnership, which is a voluntary federal-state partnership. Its main purpose is to merge employee data and employer data to produce a collection of enhanced labor market statistics with state-of-the-art confidentiality protection. Under the partnership, states send their unemployment insurance wage records and their quarterly census of employment wage data, which is then combined with censuses and surveys to create this dynamic information on workers to produce public use data products as well as microdata for research. The UI records give us job data, the QCEW gives us firm data, and our person data comes from our censuses and surveys. Here's an interactive map that shows you our current participating partners. You can click on your state and it takes you straight to our partners' websites. Unfortunately, the peach states are currently not in the partnership. However, I have heard that Mississippi and Michigan are in discussion of re-engaging. Some exciting news is that we finally have data for Puerto Rico in our quarterly workforce indicators, or QWI dataset, and in the QWI Explorer. Currently, LEHD has 3 main datasets and 2 experimental datasets. Each dataset has an application for easy access. Each dataset, along with each data tool, is unique in its own way. If you're curious about employment, hires, separations, turnovers, and earnings, you would look at our QWI utilizing the QWI Explorer or the LED extraction tool. If you want to look at employment for detailed and customized geography, you would look at the LEHD Origin Destination Employment Statistics, or LOADS dataset, using the OnTheMap or OnTheMap for Emergency Management data tools, and coming next year in the LED extraction tool. I want to note that OnTheMap for Emergency Management is the only data tool that's part of the LEHD suite of tools that has population data along with data from other federal agencies. If you want to look at statistics on job mobility across state boundaries or industries, transitions between jobs by timing and firm or worker characteristics, or earnings changes due to job changes, you would use our job-to-job or J2J flows data using the J2J Explorer and now in our LED extraction tool. One of our latest data sets is the Post-Secondary Employment Outcomes, or PSEO. This experimental data set reports earnings by institution, degree field, degree level, and graduation cohort for 1, 5, and 10 years after graduation and is accessible through the PSEO Explorer. The current release includes 23 participating states, Arizona being one of them. Finally, we have another experimental data set called the Veterans Employment Outcomes, or VEO. This experimental data set reports earnings and employment outcomes for U.S. Army veterans 1, 5, and 10 years after discharge by military occupation, rank, demographics, industry, and geography of employment. This is also accessible through our VEO Explorer. In addition to the data tools, raw data downloads are available along with LEHD microdata for approved projects through our secure census research data centers. LEHD recently released the LED Extraction Tool 2.0. It has been a long time since this data tool received any attention. The update adds access to the J2J dataset. The LED extraction tool enables streamlined access to the raw public use data produced through the LED partnership. This easy-to-use tool provides CSV files for the exact variables and characteristics requested by users. The LED extraction tool makes the QWI and J2J datasets available in simple query building interface. Rather than having to download large and complicated tables of data, users now extract the exact rows and columns needed for their analysis. In future updates, Load's data set will be made available in the tool. So let's go live to check it out. So the easiest way to get to the LEHD webpage is if you just type in lehd.ces.census.gov. And once you get there, this is our homepage, and all of the applications that we're going to go through are on the left-hand side. They're also available under applications. If you click on application, it kind of gives you a little bit of a detail of all of the different applications. So we're going to go to the LED extraction tool, and I clicked on the, again, I clicked on the little bullet. It was the second bullet. And then it takes you straight to the page, and you can see that you have options to look at, such as the quarterly workforce indicators or the J2J or job-to-job flows. So I'm just going to go ahead and just show you how it works just a little bit. And so we're going to click on the job flows under job-to-job flows. And then it takes you to another page. So our data tools are very intuitive. So under Tab 1, you can see that you can look at states or metropolitan areas. We're just going to keep it at states to keep it simple. You then you would do under the states, you can decide which origins or destinations you would like to do. So I'm just going to click on origin for Arizona and origin for Arizona. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on firm characteristics. And once I do that, under here, you can either decide to go firm age or firm size. I'm just not going to click anything. And then you would go to number 3. And here you have the worker characteristics. So you can click on sex and age, sex and education, or race and ethnicity. I'll just click on race and ethnicity for fun. And then it gives you more options, like if you want to just kind of zero in on just certain races. So we can unclick all race, and we can maybe go down to Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander. We can keep it at all ethnicities. And then I just wanted to point out, not only can you go by tab to tab, you can also click on this continue to indicators or return back to the firm characteristics. So we'll go ahead and keep on going onto the tabs. And here on tab 4, you can do seasonal adjustments if you want. And this is where you would click on the different indicators that you might want to use. And then it gives you a little bit of a description of what we're selecting. So we're going to just look at the J2J, which is the job flows with a short or no observed non-employment spell. If you want to get technical, you can click on this box at the bottom, and it'll give you all of the technical terms for that indicator. Then we'll go on to 5, and the 5 has the quarters. So for the state of Arizona, we have data all the way up to 2000 quarter 2. So if you wanted to, you can look at different trends and the longitudinal, but I'm just going to keep it simple again and just keep it at the 2021 and 2020. And then you finally click on number 6, and this is where all of the choices that you made are now showing. It tells you that there's about 36 rows. You can click on includes labels for your when you get your data back. And then if it were longer, if we had decided to do much more, this would tell us what the runtime was. So you could actually wait on that. And I think before they used to have a thing where you could email it to yourself. but I guess you would just save the settings. And then, of course, you would just click on the submit requests with the bold lightning bolt. And once I do that, the query comes up under the query results. And here you can see where your CSV would be, and you can open that up. So it gets very technical, but we're not going to go into all of that stuff too. But there you can see all of that information. All right, moving right along. This is an LED in action. This was taken from a example from 2014 when we had some presenters from Arizona that they presented this study that looked at total hires by quarter and year activity in Arizona after the recession using the Help Wanted online data series such as Monster, Career Builders, and Government Job Boards, etc., along with the LEHD. So using the QWI, we can easily look at what has happened since 2012. So in 2013 until 2020-21, the numbers have slowly increased, but still has not reached the numbers before the recession in 2006. So we can go into QWI and we can actually recreate this screenshot. So I'm going to go back to the first tab that I have the LEHD applications, and I will go ahead and click on QWI Explorer. It's the second to the last bullet on the left-hand side. And then you would click on your geography. So you would click on Arizona, and then I'm going to change this indicator to the hires new counts. And then once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on the 20 quarters in blue underline underneath the x-axis. So we can go ahead and click on 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, and 2012, just to see how things have changed since they did that study. And I'll click on OK down in the right-hand corner. And then once I do that, I'm actually going to change this to no group. But you can see that you can make other choices. We can look at the counties, the states, the metropolitan areas. We can look at NAICS sectors, sex, age, education. But I'm just going to click on no group. And then just to make it simple again, I'm going to change it to yearly averages so that it gives it kind of a smooth line through that. But we can see, you know, in 2006, it was at the top, and then it dipped down during the recession, but then it slowly started to increase throughout the years. And then there was that little dip during 2020, but here we go again, and we're trying to recover from that. So then I thought it would be kind of cool to look at the industries that they were going into back in 2012 all the way to 2021. So the J2J data set is a very complex, but the data tools that LEHD creates, like I said, is very intuitive. So in this screenshot, we can see the job-to-job flows of what industries workers went into between 2012 and 2021. So according to this chart, it is administrative and support, followed by accommodation and food services, and healthcare and social services. So let's go live to recreate this example as well and look at some of the features this data tool offers. So again, going back to the application tab, I'm going to go ahead and click on J2J Explorer, which is at the top. And before I do that, I'm just going to change the district area to Arizona. and we're going to keep it at hires to and all NAICS sectors. But I wanted to show you something before we went anywhere. So if you're not sure what you want to look at, we actually have some recommendations. So here we can look at analysis of hires over time, and you can look at our hires to jobs in Arizona coming from non-employment or another job. And then just for kicks, I thought this would be kind of fun. Where did information workers from with the highest earnings for job flows into Seattle come from? So let's click on that. And what's kind of cool is that I can change the location. So I'm just going to, down at the right-hand corner under geography, I'm going to change it from Seattle. And I'm just going to type in Phoenix at the top, and it automatically comes up. I'll click on that, and I'll set the filter. So here we can see those that are in information are coming from, to Phoenix, are coming from San Francisco and then San Jose, and we can see those earnings prior to the job to job flow. So we can see those before they came to Phoenix. Oh, it still has to, I'm sorry about that. Let me unclick the Seattle. All right, so we're just looking at Phoenix now, the Phoenix metropolitan area. So we can see San Francisco is at the top, and the earnings prior to the job flows, origin was higher. And then when it got to earnings following job to the destination, which is in the Phoenix metropolitan area, the earnings went down. But in San Jose, it went up, and Los Angeles and Seattle. So this is kind of normal in the first 4 states because it's kind of like the surrounding states of Arizona, so that you can see that. But not to get off track, let's go back to the beginning where we were going to look at the industries that those in Arizona went into between 2012 and 2021. So again, very intuitive. We have number 1 here. So we're going to keep it at hires to. You have a choice to look at separation from if you wanted to. We're going to click on the geography and change it to Arizona. And now we're going to keep it at all NAICS sector, but see how in number 2, it is blue. These are the choices that you can make. So we're just going to look at which industries under destination. And then it automatically comes into a bar chart, and we're only looking at 2021 quarter 3, but of course you can change that again, and then just kind of click on the areas next to the years, and then click set filter. And then if we want to look at the line chart that I had created in that other thing, we can see administrative at the top, and then again, like we said, accommodation and food services, followed by retail trade and healthcare and social services. Okay. There are other features on this, like you can click on the bipartite chart, and then that kind of gives you this really cool thing, and you can hover over that, and you can see in 2018 quarter 4, one of the industries that people were mostly going into was still administrative and support. So it just kind of depends on, you know, what quarter and what year we're looking at. So following that, so OnTheMap for Emergency Management is a public data tool that provides an intuitive web-based interface for accessing U.S. population and workforce statistics in real time for areas being affected by natural disasters. The tool allows users to retrieve reports containing detailed workforce population, population itself, and housing characteristics for hurricanes, floods, wildfires, winter storms, and federal disaster declaration areas. Our hurricanes, tropical storms, snowfalls, and freezing temperatures and floods all come from NOAA. Our disaster declaration areas come from FEMA. Our wildfires come from the Department of Interior and Department of Agriculture. And our demographic and economic data comes from the Census Bureau's 2010 decennial and the American Community Survey and the LEHD's loads data set. OnTheMap for Emergency Management has comprehensive reports, real-time data updates. It's easy to use. It can look at historical events and flexible analyses and visualizations. OnTheMap for Emergency Management has been named mission critical by the Department of Commerce. That means if anything should happen, such as a shutdown, the application will continue to be available to the public. So let's look at the disaster declaration, DR 4620, and its vulnerabilities. So let's go live to look at this. So back at the application again, I'm going to click on the map for emergency management. And once I get here, you can see there's a map in the middle, there's a table on the left-hand side, and then there's a legend on the right-hand side. So what's happening in the middle is what's currently going on in the country. So the green little wind swaths here, that's the tropical storms and hurricanes. The little yellow houses are flooding. The little red flames are fires, and then the orange life preservers are the FEMA disaster declaration areas. So you can get to different events in different ways. You can click on the left side and click on an event that way. You could go into the map and actually double click and double click and double click until you get to the event, or you can type in DR 4620 and it automatically comes up. If you're looking for something like maybe you want to just look at Arizona and you know that there was like a snowstorm in Arizona that you wanted to look up, you can click on this filter on the right-hand side and it'll have all of the different areas that you can look at. So you can unclick everything else except for winter weather, and that'll bring up whatever you're looking for. I do want to make a point. In 2020, due to COVID-19, all of the states were actually FEMA disaster declaration areas. So when that happened, we had to redo our map so that it wasn't flooding the whole map and taking over all of the different other events. So anyway, clicking on the DR 4620. And then it zooms into Arizona and the disaster declaration area. I wanted to point out here where it says it has a blue hyperlink. So if I click on that, that actually takes me to FEMA, and it tells us that it was the severe storm and flooding. So, I'm sure you all remember that that was during a monsoon in July of 2021. So before I leave this page, I wanted to do something because we're going to do something later. So under designated areas, I'm going to click on this, and then it takes me to a map here. So I'm just going to click on Google Earth and download that map. And so now I have that map in my downloads, but we will come back to that later. So I'll go back to on the map, and we can look at all of the different vulnerabilities. So let's look at the social vulnerabilities. So we can look at disability status by poverty status. And if I click on income in the past 12 months, the map updates, you can see all of the information updates here on the legend. We can see the table updates as well. And if I wanted to look at physical vulnerabilities, we can look at house heating fuel. So, that's always important when we're looking at power outages. So we can see in that area that the possibility of power outages could be to 20,822 people. We can see what types have solar energy, if that's, of interest to you. And then other physical vulnerabilities are mobile homes, and we can see how many mobile homes might be affected in the area, and everything still updates. Another thing we can do is if I click on the topic, we can look at the workforce living in the event area or workforce employed in the event area. So here, under that, we can look at what are the earnings that are being lost for such an event. And we can see those more than 3,333 per month multiplied by 35,535. Those are the earnings for just that pay group. We can look at the NAICS sectors that will be affected by that. And we can see that 10% of that is in retail trade, 13 in educational attainment, and then we have 15% in healthcare, and then accommodation and food services. So those are all of the industries that would be affected. So you can export this. Here you can do a KML, CSV, or you can share it on any social media. You can take this unique link and put it on your Facebook or Twitter, or whatever you want to do. So moving on. So now we're going to cover OnTheMap, and of course you can't talk about OnTheMap for emergency management without talking about its sister map. So OnTheMap is a web-based tool that connects where workers live and where workers work. So in this screenshot, we are going to do something kind of cool, and at least I think it's cool. But this is where I went ahead and downloaded the KML or the Google Earth from the FEMA disaster declaration page, and then I am going to upload it into OnTheMap so we can look at that area. So going live again. So if I click on OnTheMap on the left-hand side, and a map comes up, and normally you can go in, you can put in, any location that you'd like to look at. So I'll just show you. If I put in Phoenix here, and then I click on a search, every location or geography that has the word Phoenix comes up. So you can look at places, metropolitan areas, counties, and so on. And it just goes all the way down. But I'm just going to take that out. I don't want to look at that. And I'm going to scroll down to where it says import from KML. So I'll click on that. And then I'm just going to choose a file. And I'm going to click on this download for the DEC 4620. I will import the shapefile. And then it takes me to another area, and then we can zoom to the imported shapefile so we can get a closer look, and then we can select all polygons. And once I select all polygons, we can continue with the selected feature. So once I do that, I come to the advanced area, and it automatically has an area where I can go ahead and confirm the selection and go to the next step. You can also do a whole lot of other things. If you wanted to do a buffer around here, you could, but we're just going to keep it simple, and I'll confirm the selection area. And then I'm going to click on perform analysis. So everything's in blue. And here we have like a column for where the worker works, where the worker lives. This is the analysis type, the year, and the job type. So everything here, you can hover over the question marks and it gives you a little bit of a description of what we're looking at. So currently we're going to look at private primary jobs. If you're looking for jobs that are government jobs, federal jobs, they are under the primary jobs instead, but we're just going to keep it on the private primary. So I'm going to click on inflow outflow, and then I'll click go. And now we can see how many people are affected by that. So this is daytime population. So we can see those living and employed in the selection area, those living in the selection area but employed outside, and then living in the selection area. So here we see that 18,550 people travel into the area to work. 44,506 live and work in the area, and 22,407 people travel out of the area to work. So this can all be downloaded, reports, export, print chart map, all of that. And then we also have help and documentation. So I'm sorry I'm speeding up a little bit, but we have so much to show you. So then the PSEO coverage, this is the post-secondary employment outcomes data set that provides earnings and employment information on the career trajectories of graduates from 660 schools in 23 states, 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years after graduation. Transcript data is provided to the Census Bureau by higher education systems and individual colleges and universities through data sharing agreements with the Census Bureau. So here, as Arizona is one of the states, in a recent America Count story, the article asked questions such as, will your post-college job prospects improve if you graduate from one school over another? Will you have to move to another state to find work? And should you change your major to earn more money? So this screenshot answers the questions about should you change your major to earn more money by looking at two different engineering programs out of Arizona State University. So let's go live to recreate this example. Again, on the application tab, I'm going to click on PSEO Explorer. And I'm going to change the state to Arizona. And then for now, I'm just going to click on Arizona State University. And then we're going to change it to engineering. We're taking out the business. We're taking out social science. And then we're clicking on engineering related technology. And then we're going to just click on all instructional programs just for fun. So you can see after 10 years, if you have an engineering degree, you earn about $103,894 versus engineering related technologies. So that one is 89,398 versus all instructional programs. So you can also look at the different schools like the question was asking. So if we click on University of Arizona, the number goes up higher for the engineering related technologies, which is, you know, kind of interesting. And then you can see that the number stays the same a little bit for engineering. So other things that it answers, we can click on flows. And then I'm just going to click on shares so that we can look at percentages. So I'm going to unclick all other instructional programs, and we're just going to click on keep it at engineering, and I'm going to unclick this engineering just so we can see. So those in engineering, the top industries that they go into is manufacturing, followed by professional and scientific and technologies, and then it just kind of goes all the way down. And this is for those that graduated 5 years after. Then we can look at where are they going. So 58% of them stay in Arizona, about 16% go to the Pacific area, and then so on. Then we can look at 10 years. So even after 10 years, you only lose Arizona only loses 5% of that population from still being at Arizona, but looks like they all kind of went into the Pacific. So they're still kind of around. All right, moving on to our final data tool, which is the Veteran Employment Outcome. So the Veteran Employment Outcome is a new experimental U.S. Census Bureau statistics on labor market outcomes for recently discharged enlisted Army veterans. These statistics are tabulated by military specialization, service characteristics, employer industry, and veteran demographics. They are generated by matching service member information with a national database of jobs using the state-of-the-art confidentiality protection mechanism to protect the underlying data. The VEO are made possible through data sharing partnerships between the U.S. Army, state labor market information offices, and the U.S. Census Bureau. VEO data are currently available at the state and national level. So in this screenshot, we can compare Army veterans earnings in the 25, 50, and 75 percentile 1 year after discharge, and we can compare the state of Arizona and surrounding states. So we're going to go live again one more time. And under applications, we'll click on VEO Explorer. And here, up here where it says state, I'll just click on state, and then I'm going to click on the bar chart. And then we're going to click on Arizona and California. And we're going to unclick District of Columbia. We're going to unclick Maryland. And we're going to look at Nevada and New Mexico, maybe, and then Utah. So here we can, and unclick Virginia, sorry. So we'll unclick Virginia, and we can see that Arizona gets the higher earnings for those Army vets. So this is 1 year after, and we can change that to 10 years after. And then once we click on 10 years, it kind of balances out along all the states except for California. California is just a touch more. And we can also click on earnings, and maybe we just want to look at counts. So here, during the national counts, of course, it's very high, but everybody else is kind of low. Okay. So with that, in conclusion, these web-based analysis and visualization tools provide accessibility to the data for a wide variety of user needs and levels of statistical expertise. Many of our stakeholders are more likely to use web-based tools than download and manipulate raw data files. Along those same lines, these types of applications ease users into sessions of data exploration. Exploring the data is an excellent way to learn the intricacies of the statistics and to discover features that you might not have tested otherwise. So we also use these data tools to promote our data partnerships and products to all stakeholders and to expand understanding of our data throughout the federal statistical system. And last but certainly not least, we build these data tools for our state partners. We value our voluntary partners and hope that these tools significantly improve access to the LEHD data and help to streamline data processes and their states. So here are links to the help and documentation for every data tool we covered today. And with that, I thank you for your attention, and I'm ready if you have any questions. And I know that was really fast, but I had so much to show you.
Okay, are there any questions for Erlene? Okay.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. Sorry I was so fast.
No, it's a lot of great information. I know with LEHD, I mean, we could probably do 2 hours. Thank you very much, Erlene.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your presentation today.